So there's been two videos that have been going out there on social media. When Julius was recently in court, if you haven't seen those videos, where he seems to be taking something and eating, and people were saying it's maybe he's eating juju on social media. This particular clip right here where he takes something, he chews it up, it looks like it's not something that is chewing forever. You could have thought maybe it was biltong. It should be a random thing to be eating, because it seems to almost stop at that point. But then also this particular thing that he's eating, then coupled with the next picture, it was not helping the subject, you know. This picture, he had a blue bottle, kind of like a vapor water type of a bottle, with this greenish herbal substance. Yeah, at that point you were like, that does not look like it's cold drink. You would have just kept it in the cold drink bottle. Now this is giving vibes of Muti. You know. But I thought, you know what, when that video came out, you know, that was the subject, that was what everybody was saying. So I thought, on this channel we don't repeat what other people are saying. Want to give a valuable lesson or something, or on a thought, something that contributes to the conversation. Okay, so that's why I never made the video, because I just kept it in case I have a subject matter to address pertaining this whole is Julius drinking Muti in court. Now let's bring the background of why people were suspecting this is Muti. There is a Muti that we know Sangomas give to people when they are going to court. And that particular thing, they tell them, you eat it, you put it in your mouth right before the case thingy. They are told to do this when they are in the courtroom. Sometimes they are told, you know, immediately you are supposed to start declaring yourself innocent or whatever, you should take it. So that's where people took the idea, and that this was probably true. So I wanted to explain for those that are outside South Africa. Okay, we have an international reach on this channel, but that's not the subject. Since everybody's having that conversation, it's fine. I wanted to go a different route. Which route? I wanted to explore the beliefs of Julius when it comes to the supernatural. Okay, supernatural particularly. What has Julius shown us over the years? And I want to start it off with his early convictions, and which would seem almost as if they turned 360 all round. You guys remember when Julius established the EFF party, right? When Julius started the EFF party, there was a time when he went to visit TB Joshua. People sometimes, of course, forget this whole thing, and they sometimes forget this whole thing. But Julius, when he established the EFF party, there was a period he went to see TB Joshua, and he was asked how you were going over to TB Joshua. What was the Gwan? 2013, you see it right there, over going to Nigeria to TB Joshua to receive prayers and whatnot. And they was asked, why are you going? He says, no, you know, we consult God pertaining things. Okay. Now, I'm not pointing that one out to highlight TB Joshua as the first prophet. No, that's not the point. Let's take it that you went to church. Let's just take it within that bracket. Ne? Yeah, let's leave out first prophet part. So he went to a church, so-called, and he comes out cool. One of his followers, went to Bushiri's church, and she said that Bushiri had given her a prophecy. If you guys remember that story, there was a whole issue that erupted out of that thing. You'll remember Chinra, who's, I think that's how you say her name, she was a spiritual daughter of Bushiri. Okay? We're just mainly looking at the things that we have seen publicly. So you'll remember Bushiri brought her up and he was asking her, how are you? You know, they prophesied at Bushiri's church, blah, 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 the whole nine jazz. But then later on, Julius would go to mock her and saying, we give you position, now you go to church and now you claim that God is the one that is doing things. So Julius seemed to have gone 360, pertaining, crediting God. Do you see what's going on there? Yes, I know, false prophets and what. Yes, I get all of that. But is it not God who puts people in positions? People might misuse it, but God is the one that puts people in positions. I thought that was quite an interesting one, and it's kind of an interesting position to point of view to see, being it that he himself would associate with Bushiri at one particular point. So what was the flip for Julius? He was willing to travel all the way to Nigeria, but all of a sudden, when Shira went to Bushiri, and as a spiritual daughter of Bushiri, came back and said, you know what, Mans was given a prophecy over at Bushiri's church. You remember we once spoke about that thing, and Bushiri, Julius was later mocking her for that prophecy, or claiming that God had done that, put her into parliament, or put her in positions of power. What was the flip-flop there? Because that's now personal interactions with God. Why does Julius take offense that God gives position? Do you see what's going on? Okay. Now, so already we had that take from Julius. Then there was the subject matter of Zondo. Now, with the Bishop Zondo's situation, I did kind of understand what he was pointing out to say, you know, if people are being held accountable for certain things, they should go through all of those processes and be held accountable. We don't want to be there busy protesting for funny things, right? But then at the same time, he shoots a gun, which is illegal, by the way, okay? A discharge of a firearm, you can't just shoot your gun anywhere where you want. It's illegal because you can hurt someone. For those that do not understand the mechanics of a bullet, if you shot a bullet up, the level at which the bullet travels up, it's not that pressure of going up, it's that it can build enough speed coming back down. You can go and look up videos online that will explain that whole mechanics of all of that. Okay, so that's where the danger comes in. But then now people are protesting as if there isn't something of concern. Yes, he disapproves when others think, but do we now give it a break when it is you, or what is happening? But you see, there's this double standard whole thing, basically, which I don't get. So this brings me to this particular situation now of the claims of juju, to say that this might be juju. Now, by the way, I want to state that there are two herbal thinking, not juju necessarily. They are herbs. There are certain type of herbs. I know that there is one that actually is used for teeth, because I know someone who thinking they had a teeth problem. Their teeth will be hurting, bleeding, and all of that stuff. They'll go to the hospitals. Not much was done, and they found a herb that they were given, and that particular herb cured it completely, stopped it. Yeah, the person has never had that issue. I forgot the name of the herb. It's a classic root, man. I forgot the name of the root. And I know when you put it in water for a certain period, this is how it may tend to look. I know also there's a stomach herb that a different person that I knew also would take, particularly for stomach issues and stomach problems and all of that type of stuff. So, and this is how also it would look. So I want, unless Julius has teeth problems, stomach issues. That one is running. So already our perception of Julius when it comes to the subject matter of God and supremacy is not the best. Then when we see what he believes pertaining African worship or African spiritual viewpoints, he seems to be a little bit loose on that. Seems to be a little bit kind of loose and accepting of that. So is it possible that he was taking that help? Could be anything. Could be very interesting. But for me, I think it's telling to see the evolution of how he himself seems to have encountered falsehood, and falsehood tainted his view of God. I don't think Julius has encountered the truth of the scriptures. Now, Julius might have met pastors who are genuine, pastors who showed him the truth, pointed him to the truth, and it's kind of like, because he's met so many false prophets. Because he then judges them by the lenses of the fake that he is thinking. So I think, personally, how I see the evolution of his faith, for many people, their view of God has always been wobbled. I mean, take for example Jacob Zuma. When Jacob Zuma was president, you'll remember that they used to say that Jacob Zuma will be president until Jesus comes. Almost like a dictator type of a view, very weird. And him and Putin were very... So, a very weird position, particularly what he thought about God. It's very weird. But then to see what Julius believes as well. At one point, he's willing to go as far as Nigeria. And then he comes back. And then all of a sudden, he's the one who... And you'll remember there was also the time when he came out and he said, Jesus is not saving anyone. You remember that? Yeah, I almost forgot that one. There was a time when he came out and he says, you are here, sitting here, you are waiting for Jesus. It's not Jesus here. They feel like they become the saviors of the world, or they come to this position where they see themselves as the saviors of the world. And it is sad, honestly. Like I said, I do not believe Julius has encountered the gospel. He's encountered falsehood. I do not believe he's encountered the gospel. So, until then, whether it's herbal medicine or it's what, Julius needs to hear the gospel. That is the center of the whole thing. Everything else, you can toss it to the side. Whether he's eating herbs, he's doing what, he wants to do juju so that they don't judge him. 15 years is a very long time. The judgment, hands down, it can send him in for a very, very long time. At the center of the whole thing, Julius still needs to hear the gospel. Spirituality Show will do daily Christian commentary videos. Other episodes down today, they'll be down in the pinned comments. So should you get an opportunity, try and sneak the gospel in there. He hasn't had it. No. He's met Charlie's, he's met falsehood. Yeah, it might be juju, we don't know. But one thing we know, he is in need of the Messiah.